Good morning, trekkers. It is Friday, November 10th, 7:04 in the morning. And we are back in the Chequamegon National Forest in Wisconsin's North Woods, about 7 or so miles east of the Twin Cities of Loretta and Draper. Today's hike is going to make use of the Chequamegon State Trail, a multi-use trail, mostly an ATV and snowmobile trail, and an actual ATV trail, the Dead Horse Run, and a couple of forest roads to make a cute little loop over here in Sawyer County. Today's hike started right at 6 o'clock in the morning on the button under cloudy skies with some light flurries, as you might be able to see right now. And it was just below freezing, and it's just below freezing right now. Do not expect it to get any warmer than 36 degrees today. Fully expect this route to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 14 to 17 miles, kind of depending on what happens. I've not been all that accurate lately, so really the intent is just to be out here and be out here for a while. When I planned out this hike, I anticipated it to be a longer one, in the 15-mile range-ish. And I expected it to be some fairly easy walking, too. Oh my. That was a marten. Unbelievable. Very cool. I don't even know where I was anymore. Easy walking, yes. The Chequamegon State Trail, as you can see right here, is really well groomed, leveled. It's in better shape than most forest roads, and the walking is incredibly simple. It's walking down a nice gravel road. The Dead Horse Run, I sort of expected that to be a little more classic ATV trail, though I don't really know. So kind of a wide 2-track, maybe some gravel, maybe some mud, but still, not a rugged, hard footpath. However, all of the maps that I was looking at showed that the Dead Horse Run cuts off the Chequamegon State Trail, and we're just about there to where it connects, and runs up north to another forest road and then cuts over before it continues back up as an ATV trail. Last night, however, I came across another trail map that was updated last year, and it shows that the trail was moved to a different location, about a mile that direction. So I really don't know what to expect here. So this is what is left of the old Dead Horse Run. Clearly only one map out of 6 is correct. The two things I worry about on a trail like this are the blowdowns, which clearly there are some right off the bat here. How many are there? How thick is it? Because it only takes one windstorm to turn a trail into a hellscape. And then the other thing that I worry about is if a bog has flooded. Caution sign for the logging equipment. Yeah, I don't think so, guys. So we have some Type 2 fun in store for us here. We'll give you an update when we know what's going on. so far, it hasn't been incredibly bad. There's several blowdown areas just like the one you saw there. Navigate around, under, over. Several wet spots where you had to go bushwhacking or carefully walk along the edges of the puddle. I'm not quite halfway through this section before this hits the forest road, so I still yet don't know what to expect. It could get worse. Standing up on top of a berm. I'd just come from that direction. There's a big washout area right here. It's pretty easy to get through. Feet are still dry. But this is what is on the other side. So Forest Service put this berm in here, and this has not been used in years. I don't know. See if I can still follow the trail through all of that. We'll go for a bit. This might be a turnaround type of activity. There, got through all of that. That was wet, hummocky, full of down branches and holes and brambles, and oh boy, I hope I don't have to come back this way. Yeah, I know this looks like should be fairly easy going, but it's all holes and hummocks and washouts. Yeah, this is the easy part. Yeah, it's still got a good 2 miles to go. A little less maybe, but around 2 miles to go. Whew. A lot of work. Another berm. What hell waits beyond this? More of the same, but with briars. Well, trekkers, that is gonna do it. Got into this swampy area, and I'm not sure I can reliably get across it. I could probably push my way through. Feet are already wet, so, you know, whatever. But the trail is gone. Where before I could at least follow a corridor of the trees cut open, that has completely disappeared. There's nothing to follow. I could follow the GPS, but when I look in that direction, I just see scrub, trees. There's nothing there. I'm only about a little over a third of the way, not somewhere between a third and a half of the way through this mess. I think that last mile and a half is just not going to be on today's docket. It's going to be a tough slog for the next, about 2.3 miles back to where we came from. So you got another hour and a half of slogging through all of this stuff that we just came through. So yeah, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Trudging through this stuff is extremely hard work. I'm not filming any of it simply because I don't want to have to go back through it if I don't have to. But it's taxing on the back, it's taxing on the legs, it's taxing on the cardio. This is a CrossFit workout, getting through and around and over this stuff. You're up and down, you're watching every single step you take, precariously balancing, which I have very little balance, but it is a lot of work. And the reward comes later, when you think about it later, because then it's fun. Right now it's just, I'm in the woods. Let's get out of this section. You know, when you meet strangers, you strike up a conversation after they've established that you're married or not, and that you're gainfully employed or not. They then ask you, well, what is it that you do when you're not working? And I tell them, well, I like to go hiking. The question they always ask is, oh, well, where do you hike? What am I supposed to say? Used to be a camping spot long time ago. And over here there's a stovepipe. Bet if I poked around a little bit more, I'd find a few more little trinkets. Yeah, so just have to get over this way a little bit more. And right about where that big pine tree is, that area, there's a small creek. Didn't even get my feet wet on the way over. But need to pick my way very carefully over there like I did before. And you can kind of see where I came from, where the reeds are a little bent over. So I'm trying to follow roughly the same path. Snow has actually started. There was supposed to be no precipitation today. Just like there was supposed to be a trail and there wasn't supposed to be snow. We have snow and there's no trail. Quite the day. There we go. Made it to the creek. Should be a fairly easy little hop skip over. Over there is the berm. A little bit of crap beyond that, and then it gets a lot easier. We're in the final stretch of this morass. There we are, crossed and making our way. That was 1.53 miles from that creek to where we turned around at the swamp. That's what I was concerned about, that we would get bogged out. But I was willing to try to cross that bog if I could see the trail on the other side, but it's not there. Who knows what it's going to look like after that. And yeah, just the last 100 yards here since the creek, I can feel myself mentally letting down, and that's rather dangerous to do because this is still pretty rugged terrain. It's flat-ish. There are rocks and holes and mud and hummocks, and you just have to be a little careful and move a little slower than usual or you'll hurt yourself. So still have to keep the brain wired. Well, we made it out. And heading back to the bridge. And we'll take a break there and figure out what's next. I just threw the tarp down side of the trail. Hanging out. It's snowing on me. Eating a makeshift sandwich. I mean, holy cow. I could not be happier right now. This is awesome. Wow. Well, conferred with the film crew, and we got a couple of options. So the way this was supposed to go down is we make it to the end of what was the Dead Horse Run. We get to Forest Road 161. That about another half a mile after that, we hit Forest Road 162, start making our way south. Now, that eventually crosses, or actually the Tuscobia State Trail crosses that, and we would take the Tuscobia State Trail right back to the car again. Okay, be about a 17-mile day, somewhere in there. 2 miles down that way, the Tuscobia hits the Forest Road. Another mile up is where I have stashed a gallon of water and some more food. The idea being is by the time I got there, it's probably going to be 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. Time to get some good food. Still have about 6.5 miles or so left to do on the day. Get back to the car, and all is well. Well, so one option is head back down to Tuscobia, hit Forest Road 162, take 162 up to 161, all the way back around. I think that ends up being around 22 miles on the day, including everything we've done so far. And I'm not going to do that. I guess the other option is to just head down to Forest Road 162, turn around, take the trail all the way back. I'm not going to do that either. So what we decided, the film crew and I, is we're going to head back to the car. It's about a little bit over 2 miles, 2.8 miles to get there. And take a nice long break, get warmed up, dry out the feet. And yeah, there's a couple other forest roads, you know, that are dead end types ones. And if the legs are feeling good enough, why go take care of that. I mean, we're going to have almost 12 miles in on the day by the time we get back to the car. That's a full day right there, but I just don't feel like being done yet today. But we'll see what happens when I actually get like fully relaxed. Well, that's the deal. Off we go. That's Forest Road 161B, I believe. It's not marked, but I think that's it. Yeah, we'll just, I think it goes in for probably like 1.5 miles, 2 miles, but we'll just go in for 3/4 of a mile. Whenever I get bored, stretch my legs, whenever my back gets sore, and we'll just go wander in, see what we can see. And this is the end. And you can tell by these grasses from what we went through today what's in there. This little section of the Chequamegon is an interesting spot. We are standing in an area that is between two major river systems. The Flambeau, that direction down to the south and to the east, and then behind us and over to the west, so to the north and the west, is the Chippewa River. And where we're standing right about here is a dividing line where any of the creeks that are over there are heading towards the Flambeau, and any creeks over here are heading towards the Chippewa. Makes this kind of a interesting little place. And there aren't too many creeks. There's a number of bogs, but you can see most of the woods for acres and acres is this. We saw that even today, but we also saw how wet this actually can be. Try it again. By the time the French trappers had arrived in what is now northern Wisconsin, and then the British explorers that followed them, the Ojibwe had a very firm control of the shores of Lake Superior. But on this side of the Great Divide, this land was largely peopled by the Chippewa. The Chippewa made their homes along the banks of the larger rivers, the shores of the larger lakes, and they would use these woods here between the Brule and the Flambeau River as a hunting ground, and then would skedaddle back home. Jonathan Carver, a British explorer, wrote in his memoirs that the Chippewa had told him that these forests between the Brule and the Flambeau rivers were known as the land of the mosquito. I drove the forest roads north, stopping at interesting spots and following some short paths. As dark approached, I stopped at one on a whim. I followed the path downhill to deadfall and overgrowth, but then I heard running water just ahead. Dark is just about on us, and it's time to start making my way out of the forest and back into civilization and find camp and food. Been a spectacular day. This was not the trip that I had originally planned. I planned to go somewhere else. I planned to do a different kind of hike, but some other issues came up and this was plan B. On a whim, on a spur. I'd kind of thought about some of these trails before, but hadn't really planned them at all. Put it together and came out here. It had its challenges, physical challenges for sure, but it was a day of discovery. It's the first time I've really been in Sawyer County and got into a part of Ashland County that I haven't been to before. And some amazing discoveries. Quite the day. You know, when you're older and you look back, you're going to have your bad memories, but those, trust me, they'll begin to fade and they won't feel as bad. They won't be as traumatic. Your good memories, they'll kind of all blend together. You'll maybe remember the day, you'll maybe remember it, you'll remember more the feeling of it. But it's days like this that fill in all the spaces in between. These are the days that really make up your memories. Trekkers, I hope this provides some inspiration for you to just get out on a whim and go discover your everyday adventure.